Did anyone else here have a quarantine relationship that changed once you stopped being stuck inside? I, 30F, basically met a guy, 31 meters, in the beginning of quarantine and we became snuggle bugs from April on. We were the only person the other person saw because of lockdown, so we had a lot of lovey, good sex and binged a ton of Netflix, ordered tons of takeout, played board games and online games together, etc. After the world began to reopen, after jobs began to return, after outside non-couch potato activities began to become available. Not saying the world is back or anything is over, it's just not Earth is closed like it was for so many months. I realized a lot of our relationship was based more on affection and company than other things, and going from hanging out almost every day to only once a week because of work is a huge dynamic shift. I'm just wondering if anyone got into something like this, or if I'm the only one. I would love just serious comments and not jerky ones please. THX, 2 hearts. Too long didn't read. I dated someone at the beginning of quarantine and think it might be successful only in the context of quarantine. Strange times make strange bedfellows, but I'm sure some long-lasting relationships will come out of it, and hopefully some not too regretful flings that weren't meant to be. For many people, the pandemic has been an excuse to do unhealthy or more impulsive things. I know a lot of couples struggling now because they got together at the beginning of the quarantine and moved in immediately. This is such a huge don't in dating for all the same reasons it was a don't before the pandemic. Yes, exactly this. I was pretty hurt for a minute but I think it wasn't meant to be. Spent almost all our time together like you, then went back to work, he got distant, started talking about how he feels weird about intimacy, stopped making an effort to hang out as much as he did when we first went back. It was surprising because I thought we were pretty on the same page the whole time cause, like, we spent all of it together. But it is what it is lol. I've been wondering the same thing, thanks for asking. The exact opposite happened for me and my ex. We were together for 7 years, but once COVID came he was a total stranger. Never saw him. He would ask me to run to the store for him, but he would never even go to the door to see me. I just dropped it off and left. It really sucked. Similar, I dated a girl for a month. She was furloughed from work but my job never changed. I still went into work every day. Honestly, COVID could have never happened and I wouldn't know the difference. I think she was hoping to find a man who could spend every day with her since she was bored. I'm also pursuing my masters so I could only give her like 3 nights a week tops. Really bums me out because she was fantastic and I believe we would have worked if she didn't have so much free time. I, 20F, can't get my housemates, 4x19M, to clean up their messes and I'm at my breaking point. I, 20F, live with 4, all 19M, boys in college housing. I knew 3 of them from the same school organization the prior year, and the 4th is a friend of theirs that we were able to pull in to get our apartment this year. I would say that we are friends but not very close to each other. Early on we set up the rule if you make the mess you clean it up. School pays for people to come in and clean the bathroom and take out the trash, but the common area and kitchen are always dirty. They never wash their dishes or wipe the counters and table down after they are done cooking/eating. So there's always dirty dishes stacked in the sink and crumbs/sticky spots on the counter. They never throw out their old food in the fridge, so there's always some old leftovers or rotting spinach in the back of the fridge. It gets to the point where over the weekend I'll do a deep clean of the kitchen and common area instead of hanging out with friends because I am so grossed out. I know if I don't clean it nobody will. I've stopped hanging out in the common area because I get so grossed out by how dirty it is in there. I don't want to keep cleaning up their messes, and I know that I have set a bad precedent by doing so already, but I don't know what else to do. Every time I ask them to be better about cleaning their messes, they clean for a few days and go back to the same old habits. How can I get them to clean up more so we're not living in filth? TDLR, I can't get my housemates to clean up in the kitchen and common area and I don't know how to get them to. Edit, I can't move as I am the RA for the building. There are 4 of them and 1 of you. In your shoes, I would start looking for alternative accommodation. As an RA, do you have powers to deal with these disgustingly bad roommates? Be able to compel them to move or levy fines? You can go that route. Do you have their parents' email addresses? Take pictures of the filth they make and email them to their parents and ask them for their help in talking to their kids about cleaning up after themselves. You live with 4 teenage boys who probably just moved out of mommy's house. They'll be this way until they piss off enough partners they treat like bang maids. You can't police all 4 of them, so I would move out. Don't be an RA if this is what it costs. I'm 32 and have yet to see that really make much difference on a resume. Price out how much it'll be to hire someone to do it, and collect that much from them split by 5. Then either hire someone to clean up, or keep the money to do it yourself. Move out if possible, see if you can get new accommodations. They consider you the help and certainly aren't going to take care of messes themselves. You don't have to live in filth. If you absolutely can't move for whatever reason, research a cleaning service, find out what it costs to come in twice a week, and then tell them they need to pay their share for it. I'm scared to tell my bridesmaids that my wedding plans have changed and that these new plans subsequently don't involve them. What do I do? My 26F fiance, 31 meters, proposed to me last year. I had always had this plan in my mind for an ideal wedding at home because my parents have a boat a day. I fucked up property. Parents had already approved this idea, and I always knew which people were going to be my bridesmaids. The day my fiance proposed, we first informed the parents and then I spoke with my bridesmaids one by one and asked them if they'd be in my party. They were all delighted and they accepted. BTW, COVID has not had much effect on my wedding as my fiance and I have always considered that we'd wed in either 2022 or 2023 because of school, and we wanted to save enough money that we could pull off a wedding without draining all of our finances. Here's the catch. My parents graciously offered to pay for most of the wedding, and for that I'm grateful, but after a while the whole plan just started to snowball into this monster with hidden costs all over the place. Want an outdoor wedding? Better pay $4,000 to rent a tent you don't even like as insurance for potential rain then. Want to invite so and so? Well, you better expect to invite their 6 kids so as not to insult anyone. And on and on. Not only this, but a lot of the things I wanted came with a steep or hidden price tag. And although it's 2, potentially 3 years out from my wedding, I already started feeling stress/anxiety at the thought of our wedding day, to the point I was having nightmares. After building my anxiety to the breaking point, it didn't help that people were tagging me in wedding posts and sending me Pinterest boards despite their good intentions. I finally sat down with my fiance and we had a long talk about what it was that we really wanted for ourselves in the long run. The wedding was becoming this monstrosity of a spectacle, and we realized that the reason why was simply to impress a bunch of people that I barely see more than twice a year at most. Was it worth it to blow a bunch of hard-earned money away on one single day that we would most likely remember for all of the hitches and tiny disasters? I have a few married friends who only seem to reflect on all of the mishaps on their weddings when they speak about it. So we came up with a new plan, and it managed to fit in all of the things I ever dreamed of, just with far less people. And by far less people I mean me, my fiance, his parents, and my parents would be the only people there. We would get married in a courtroom on a separate day, then in the summer, his parents will fly down and we will have a boat a day. I fucked up dinner in my parents' porch where I get to wear the pretty dress, and my fiance and I will recite our handwritten wedding vows in an intimate setting. My fiance and I agreed that it was perfect for us, and now when I imagine my wedding day I feel peaceful rather than hectic. I have anxiety, so this is extremely important for me to manage my daily life. When I discussed this with my parents, they loved the idea and suggested that we also just have a simple house party on a separate day where we make the food from scratch and celebrate with some close friends and family in a more laid-back manner, and I thought that was perfect. I love cooking for parties, so it just made sense. My fiance and I also thought it would be a good idea to take my bridesmaids and some other friends out bar hopping and foot the bill for drinks/door fees. Now to my dilemma. I'm honestly worried about what my friends will say when I tell them this. Apparently they have been all planning a wicked bachelorette. I told them I didn't care what they planned as long as I got to drink alcohol with my friends and get a little wacky, and that money didn't matter. But now I feel like I don't really deserve one since I'm not following through on having them to this elaborate wedding I was originally planning. Clearly I won't be having a shower as well because it makes zero sense for me to receive a bunch of gifts from people who aren't even invited to the main event. I just feel like I'm letting down a bunch of people who were genuinely excited to get to be bridesmaids and get dressed up and all of these other traditions, and I feel like I'm stripping that away from them. I just don't know how to break the news, as some of my friends were really getting into the idea of my wedding. Long story short, am I a jerk for this whole situation? Is this something that would upset you if it happened to you? Having the rug pulled out from under your feet? Also, how can I break the news to my bridesmaids without hurting their feelings? TL, Drive was planning an elaborate wedding but realized it just didn't feel right and pared plans back drastically. My bridesmaids are no longer going to be invited to my wedding, neither is anyone else for that matter, as I'm basically going for a courtroom/dinner with the parents thing, and I'm scared of telling them at this point. I will have a house party on a separate occasion. Do not expect gifts, just celebrating with close family and friends. But if I were your bridesmaid and you explained all this to me, I would totally understand and not take it personally at all. It's not like you're uninviting them specifically, you've changed the entire concept of your wedding. You've also thought about ways to still include them through the house party. If they're good friends, I don't think they should be offended or feel hurt if you explain what you wrote in this post, especially the part about the wedding affecting your anxiety. It's not about them, it's about figuring out something that works better for you. I knew a girl who realized her wedding has spiraled out of control after she got a nose job for it. She did elope and told her friends when she got back that she was sorry, but explained how stressed she had been and would be just having a big casual party at some point. Most people really understood and had seen how stressed she had been. Oof. Yeah, I feel this. I'm back in therapy because my eating disorder came back full-fledged this year. I think you've just got to have the awkward conversations, but it should go okay. It's not like they're being dropped from the list of bridesmaids. They just are not bridesmaids. They're not being disinvited from the wedding. There is no significant wedding ceremony. Just so there's been a change of plans. As we planned the wedding, we realized that it was just getting more and more involved. And so we're just going to ditch the wedding and get married at the courthouse with only our parents there. A while later we're going to have a big party, and of course you're invited to that. I really value your friendship, hope this doesn't hurt your feelings, etc. Also, I think it was totally reasonable to ask these people to be your bridesmaids on the schedule that you did. If I were your bridesmaid, I'd be very relieved, lol. Not only are your reasons very valid, but being a bridesmaid is usually kind of stressful and expensive. You do it because you love the chick, but at the end of the day, this is your wedding and you need to do what you need to do. I know I'd personally be excited, unless I had already bought dress/shoes/plane ticket. I personally had a wedding with just my mother and father-in-law and my parents over the phone. Oh yeah, and husband was there. That was 16 years ago and I have zero regrets. Zero.